starting to analyse what is the data risk inherent with this procurement that you're undertaking with the vendor. Are they ISO 27001? Are they ISO 42001? So that ISO 42001 is the AI management and governance standard. So that's an emerging standard that we probably need to think about. So I think these three things position Australia to be able to contribute to global conversations with useful things. And the thing I think with Australia is we've kind of been able to do innovation with protection. So we haven't been like America, where they're all in on innovation and they don't really think about protecting people unless somebody makes them. So I've been to several of the global data commissioners, data and information commissioners conferences, and there's always groups of people. So there's the Americans on the far right, shall we say, who don't want any privacy regulation at all. They just want to be able to do whatever they want with no guardrails. And then there's the EU on the other side. They want to protect everything. And then there's sort of Australia, New Zealand, Singapore, who sort of sit in the middle, who want to do a bit of innovation, but a bit of protection. And I think that's a pretty healthy place to be. And I think that that's one of the strengths of Australia, is that we're in that place. So I think this is one of the things that we can bring to the world, us along with Singapore and New Zealand, who are both doing really interesting things in this space. The other thing I will say is that it's in the space of AI, because AI is now the big thing. And there's a lot of talk saying that AI is just a scam, AI is just a Ponzi scheme, it's not real. It is real. It's a real thing. I've been delivering AI products, enterprise products, since 2018. There are enormous numbers of people who are doing it, and doing it safely and with ethics and data governance and all of those good things included. But I really think that we, as an industry, need to start to think about how we're going to embed our values in this, because we can choose the future of AI now. It's early enough in its process where we can shape the future. We still have agency. So how we choose to embed our values and our ethics into the AI that we build is a really important thing for us to consider. AI is here. It's genuinely here. It is genuine. It is a real thing, and there are people building real products that can help people's lives. But at the end of the day, if we let the model where people can free range and do whatever they like, it's like the Wild West, that will lead to really poor outcomes for people, especially people who are not the majority. So, I think that we need to think about that and step up now and start to enact AI that we want to live with. We want to build a future we want to live in, not a dystopian future where, tech bros rule the world. I don't want to live in that future. They keep reinventing public transport, for heaven's sake. Tech bros, they keep inventing things that we've already got. So I want to talk briefly about some practical strategies. Now, I'm going to mention a couple that I've mentioned. I've mentioned CPS 230 before. The Essential 8. The Essential 8 is a cybersecurity standard that the Australian Cybersecurity Centre put out a couple of years ago. This is like the gold standard in Australia. It is the one that most enterprises should be complying with. It is actually surprisingly hard, even for a large organisation like a university, to comply with. So this is why I've also put up here SMB 1001, which is a standard for small business. That's something that a lot of small businesses might not be aware of, but it's a really good standard that's easy for smaller businesses to do, and it kind of sits under the Essential 8, but is worth knowing about. The National Institute for Standards Technology in the USA, they have a lot of great frameworks for cybersecurity, which you should go and download now if you want them, because I don't know if they'll exist in a month or so. But they've got great frameworks. They've also got amazing cryptography standards, quantum safe cryptography standards and stuff. So if you want any of that kind of stuff, go get it now, because they might be going to disappear. And then probably another one that a lot of people might not be aware of is the ISO standard 38505, which is actually a data governance standard, but it's not called that. So it's part of the information technology governance of IT, but it's actually a data governance standard. So that's actually one that's worth going and having a look at. And it's one of the ones that they've it's kind of been hidden, but it's a good standard to go and have a look at. The other thing is governance, risk and control systems, GRC. A lot of them are providing a one-stop shop for implementing all of these different frameworks. So, you know, you've got data governance, cyber security, information security, privacy. These kind of tools are providing a one-stop shop where you can implement all of them and enact them across your organisation. And a lot of them start at very low cost, so they're kind of things that are worth thinking about. And then this is the one that I mentioned before, ISO 42001. This is the AI governance and management standard. So if you're looking at doing AI in your organisation, I do recommend that you have a look at that. So that will give you some good guidance, because one of the things that I've discovered, because I'm doing a PhD on AI governance and management, and I've done my literature review, and there isn't much guidance out there for organisations who are starting out on their AI journey, telling them how to govern and manage their AI. So there isn't a lot, but this is a good start. And there was a lot of Australian input, so a lot of Australians got up in the middle of the night, 3 o'clock in the morning usually, 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and contributed to that standard. Led by people like Dr. Ian Opperman and Professor Leary Bennett-Moses and Dr. Kobe Lyons. So they were all instrumental in developing that standard. So there's been a lot of Australian input into that, which is really a good standard. But it's a standard, so. And some of the other frameworks. So the other frameworks that I recommend that people probably all very familiar with, the Data Management Association's DIMBOK standard. This is this is a different representation of it, and I think this is a good representation of it. And these slides will be available afterwards, I'm assuming, so you grab that. But this is a really good one for explaining it to people. And this is the NIST cybersecurity framework, which I find a really good way of explaining cybersecurity to people who are not cybersecurity professionals, so that they can understand what it is doing. And it includes all of the necessary pieces. And you'll see it's pretty much the same as that one that I mentioned at the start of the talk about the Australian government's put a new cybersecurity requirement out. All right, so key takeaways. Please remember that behind every data point's a human being somewhere. Even if it's not obviously a human being, so even if it's an IoT device that's on the edge of a network, it's probably tracking a human being. Or if it's not tracking a human being, it's probably delivering some service to a human being. Could be agriculture. You know, so there's people behind all of the data that we're collecting, all of the information that we're using. Again, recognise that every organisation is its own unique special snowflake. So we've got to customise what we're doing to be contextually relevant to that organisation. And don't be afraid to customise your data governance and your data management practices. There's the good best practice, but then there's what works. Instead of having best practice in your organisation, you're better off having something that actually works for your organisation. So don't feel the need to do all of it. The other thing is data governance and data integrity are essential for creating business value. So really start to have those conversations around your business. get to know the business people who are responsible for that data and understand it, because you can get really insights into what's going on by having conversations. I'm a huge fan of talking to human beings. So it's very easy in the data information world where we get into the coding and we just do our thing. Like, I always encourage my people to get up and like when we went back to the office, we went back to the office 2 days a week, and I said to my team, I will penalise you if you are found at your desk coding on those days. I want to see you out having cups of coffee with people. So I wanted them talking to their business stakeholders rather than sitting in an office typing away, because the real business value is from the conversations. That's how we find out stuff. That's real information. That's real data. And yeah, I think Australia does have a genuinely interesting role in the global discussion about data and AI. I think we do have a good combination of pragmatic regulation with innovation, and I think our SOCI Act in particular is good, and I think we can start to expand out and start to drive those conversations in the Indo-Pacific. And I'll just cover off on the things that I'm really seeing that I think we need to start to do is proactively prepare for the legislation and regulation that's coming down the pipe. If you wait till the last minute to comply, it'll be probably more expensive, so start planning now. And even if your organisation is not covered by the new regulations and legislation, start to think about what bits would be good to adopt, what would give benefit to your organisation, give value, because it's probably coming down to the smaller organisations too. So a lot of these things like cut out at 10 million or 3 million or something. If you're under that, you need to start to think about it because it will eventually apply to everybody. Invest in data governance as a strategic priority. It is a really important thing. Perhaps rebrand it. I'm a fan of data risk management now. Collaborate across sectors. You know, if you're a bank, you can't talk to other banks because they're competitors. Maybe go and talk to somebody in a whole different other industry and share best practice. That's really helpful, and there's a lot of cross-pollination you can do. And you know, this kind of forum is a really great example of this kind of collaboration and cross-pollination. So it's a really valuable thing. And the other thing is, we all have the need for CPDs, but I do encourage you to adopt continuous learning and adaptation. It's the only way we're going to survive. The pace of change now is faster than it's ever been. It's probably going to get faster. If our teams and us can't adapt, that will be utterly fatal. So I think that's an important thing for us all to consider. So the final thought is like, I think as information professionals, we've got a really important role to play in this emerging world of data and information. But I will say, we can have agency now. We can change the kind of future we're creating by embedding our values, by embedding our ethics into what we are building. We can make sure that the future is a better future than other people might create. It's a big responsibility, but I'm very happy to join you on this journey, so thank you.
Thank you so much, Kate. I believe we have all been inspired.